Hello, everybody. Corey back here again to do a weekly roundup of the Yieldmax single stock ETFs. Sorry for the delay. I spent, I think, half of the weekend on my computer working on spreadsheets, updating spreadsheets, or creating new ones. And I spent the other half just doing family stuff. But I just posted the ulti video and it had significant changes, and so does this one. Normally, the way I have been doing this anyway is I have been, showing our weekly summaries, and then for the current week, I would go over our synthetic and short calls as far as our overall by day. I know when we go through the daily videos, we do see them. I guess I don't have it broken down by synthetic and short call on the side. I have it broken down just by total trades. This gets to show you which one, both of it. It gets to see the whole summary by week and the overall. And then at the bottom, we have other information. And actually, I swapped the columns this week. I actually did a lot of work on this. And then I swapped the columns to make the synthetic be first, make the short call be second, because I wanted the green cells to line up. And then I finally went back and rewatched an interview with Jay and took some notes and stuff. And so then I've changed some things. And then I started to update this one, and then I didn't. Only because the way that I understand the distribution to be calculated, that most of y'all probably don't want to see any of this data anyway. Really, I'm sure most of you, all you want to know is how much is the distribution, or how much have we earned for the distribution. But I'm going to show you what I did do. And if you want me to go over this, I have absolutely no problem going over this, and going through each trade by day and showing you here. But I also don't want to do it if none of you want to see it. So, anyway, this is the way I would normally do it. This week I'm going to do it different. You let me know if you do want to see these rolled up by day like this for the synthetic and short call. I'll do a follow-up video to this one, and I'll just go over those if you want to. So you just let me know. And then if there are several of you out there that want to see this, then I can add it on to the video next time. But I can always do a follow-up. The data's here. It's just doing it. But let's see. This is what I have built. So Jay said that the distribution is based on the premium that they receive for the short calls. And the way, if we just go back to here, this is, all the synthetic and then all of the short calls. I have the short call and synthetic broken up into two separate columns, but this short call is how much premium they received, and then also how much it cost them, to close it out in the end. So it was a net of the, I can't even think, sorry, of the short calls. It was the overall. So the way that I set this up, assuming that I was understanding him correctly, and it's just the premium for the short call, I've set this up. Now, I will say I did go back and look, but only at 1 month, and it was for Tesla, and the short call premiums that, retire on dividends, Rod had captured on his sheet did not match the payout that was paid out. So that had me, second guess. But I don't know. We'll just see. That's all we can do is we'll just see. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and make this be, because I know y'all are wanting to get, estimates, and I haven't truly, on here I was showing you at the bottom, how much based on the overall synthetic they were making per share, and how much on the overall short call it was per share. So I guess I was on this one. I wasn't on Ulti because I had some things I had to whatever. So, but this one over here is going to be by the premium only. And then I did this long ways today, landscape versus portrait. I'm sorry you want me to get it all on one screen, but that's because I have multiple sections here. And then it was just going to be better to go across this like this. So we can see if we look at AIYY, we'll just walk through this. Of course, the dates at the top here, those are the dates that we're looking at for the current distribution. But for the short call premiums from AIYY, we brought in almost 1.2 million. So again, this does not include any cost that we had to pay out if we had to pay to close these. And then if we go to the next column, outstanding shares, that's number of outstanding shares currently. And then 0.67, the earnings per share, that'd be our current estimate for our distribution based on the current premium and the current outstanding shares. Just know, the outstanding shares is probably gonna go up. It's rare that you see some of these sell out. You will see it. It'll happen where people sell out. It's usually in those high earners, those that are going up high, and I guess people want to take profits, but it's just rare. So just know that the outstanding shares go up more than they go down. So if with that said, if the short call premium, right, if it only stays, and I use this with Ulti, and it's a little different because most of its premium is brought in on Mondays, but if, say if this one did similar, right, say Monday, they have short call premium on Monday, and then that's it. They don't buy anymore, and they don't have any the rest of the week, but your shares go up, then that means the earning per shares is going to go down throughout the week. So just keep that in mind. Then what I'd done on the other one was I had the IV, and then I did an estimate distribution based on the IV. And I did that because Jay had said in an interview that you could use the IV as a basis, because that's the way without getting too in depth of, the interview and everything he said, he basically just said, we'll roll it up as you could use it as an estimate. So that's why I had that on the tab last week, and I put that down there. So I went ahead and just brought it over here, just to give us another thing to look at. And then in the next columns, I brought over, like I'd added last time, what our previous distribution was and what the yield was for that. Now, I just remembered. So on the IV column, that is the IV as of like today, right? We know that IV changes from week to week. So, which is when I started doing another tab, and I didn't stop. I stopped and I didn't finish, but I found a way to go back and get historical IV cost. Yeah, but that was going to take a lot of time, so honestly, I just didn't go back. So I don't know, AIYY's IV 2 weeks ago could have been a lot higher, or it could have been a lot less than what it is right now. So that estimate with the purple IV column, that isn't going to be as accurate as, the, I don't know, teal colored column with the EPS in it. Now, if we were just starting out, and we didn't have any earnings per share yet, then we could probably use that IV to give us an idea for the month. But we're already, in 3 weeks into this. But anyway, yeah, so I want to go over to the next column, and I also wish this was, I guess because I added a whole bunch of columns into it. What I want to do, I want to move this now that I didn't have so many columns here before. Okay, I guess I can't do that on an iPad like I thought I could. So there we go. I have my handy dandy computer nearby. So you can see now where we are at. This is calculating that there were 20 trading days, and I hadn't thought about it, but I guess we've done completed 14. I don't know what it looks like if it's on a trading day as far as, well, I guess it's counting that day too. So, but anyway, so we've completed 14 trading days. So according to this, is 6 trading days left, and I should have verified this, right? So we have 4 days this week. So Monday through Thursday, and then Friday's a holiday. I guess I should bring the calendar up. And then, yeah, okay. And then April 1st is a Monday, and April 2nd is a Tuesday. And then I had it up that the declaration date was on the 3rd. Let me see. Let me just make sure. I always second guess myself, and because I'm always afraid to put out wrong information. I mean, I know it shouldn't be right. It's just whatever, but I just don't like it. I do the exact same thing at work. If somebody asks me a question, if I'm not 99% sure, I'll tell them to hold on. I'm going to look it up just to make sure, because I hate to give out wrong information. But we're looking at the Yieldmax one. So yes, declaration date is the 3rd, which is why, just so nobody gets confused, the reason I have through the 2nd up there, because those should be basing their they will be basing their distribution amount based on the amount through the day before declaration. So we're 70% through the number of days. We have 6 trading days left. But anyway, so we'll go over here. I know I'm taking a long time to go over this, but this is a totally new format. Here we'll have the same thing we had on the other tab, but this is, we had at the bottom our totals here at the bottom. This is going to be, like that. With our synthetic, of course, the columns are swapped. Short column are synthetic, and then the total of those trades. And then how much per share, if you want to, sort of like the other one we had the overall, except for, yeah, the other one, for Ulti, I included the net assets, but that's because those hold a bunch of different stocks within one, in one ETF, and here we're only holding, AI. So I guess I don't need to have that here. Just thinking through that now. But anyway, so this one right here would be our total trades divided by, says I forgot. Yeah, I have the outstanding shares over here. So we have that, and then down here on the end, what I've done is the comparison. On the daily ones, I've been showing you how it does daily, but this is how it's done in this pay period, right? In this, since we've started. So it's going off of these dates that we have over here. March 5th. Yes, and because March 5th was the last declaration date. I'm just looking at the calendar to make sure it was right. So it's going based off of those dates. Again, just as because it's easier. I did it on the Ulti one too. I didn't do it based on, X dividend to X dividend, because I already had those other dates there. I can always change this. If y'all prefer to see this by X dividend date to X dividend date, I could just, I could put those dates up here, and then I could just reference those it'll be, on this one, it's not that bad. On the Ulti one, the dates are on the left side, right, and then everything sums to the right. So it just, it would just be different. But on this one, or either one, y'all let me know. I'll make it work either way, right? But here, so we'll have the open as far as the date and the top, and the close. Well, in this case, it's our current, and then our difference, and then of course I did rankings on them, and you may not care. In fact, sorry, I can't get comfortable. You might, now that I'm looking at this, prefer, which one is doing better. Is it the Yieldmax or the underlying? Of course, then you need a percentage. So that was another thing I didn't think about. Since we're comparing two things that are so totally different, we might want to, I don't know why I forget that on here. Oh, didn't mean to do that one. And so this one, if we did our difference divided by the old, oh, I did that in the wrong cell, equals our difference divided by the old. And then I don't even know what ended up being in the other one here. I am so sorry, but I know, and I don't think this lets me change decimals on this. So this one does, but it's, there we go. And I don't know why it's, well, I do know why. I don't know if, I don't think I said it this way, but this video, but I know on Ulti, I had to just get off of it because every time I turn around, I was thinking of something else. Like, oh, I don't want to do this. And I was never going to, hold on. I was never gonna make it through the video if I didn't just go ahead and do it, because I kept thinking of something different to add. I'm just doing this on my computer because it's a lot quicker if I do it on my computer than if I'm doing it while, of course, most of y'all might not even care. And I'm sorry for those of you that don't care. I'm sorry. But if we have the difference in there, now you can compare percentage-wise to each other, right? The dollar amount's more comparing on the Yieldmax each other, but when we need to compare that with the underlying, we need to do it by percentage. And then, if I can, this is a little bit harder when I'm not sitting at my computer doing a mouse. We want to know, well, I would say we would want to know which one was better. Was it Yieldmax or the underlying? So let's say if I need, if this is greater, oh, nope. I'm sorry, y'all. Please hang in there with me. This is greater than this. Put Yieldmax. If not, put underlying. Oh. Okay, I got it. Actually, use the same formula I built. I built this whole big workbook, which I shouldn't have done, and I should have got the rest of this stuff done first, based on trying to figure out, did Yieldmax do better on days or up days as far as the market goes and everything else. And I was going to do a video on it. Of course, I haven't been able to do videos all weekend, being with the family and all. But just glancing here at make sure my formula's right. Make sure not like losing it. But if y'all guessed it, if y'all guessed that the underlying did better than the ETFs, it did. It has so far. Every single one of them. I don't know. I guess I don't know why I thought it would be different. Oh, but you know what? The one thing I'm not accounting for here is that we would have to add the dividend back in, because it drops by the amount of the dividend, right? And the way I have these dates, I didn't do it on the dividend date. I did it the day or 2 days before the dividend date because of how I had the worksheet set up. So I'd have to add in. All right. Which then is going to make me change the formulas. Remember I said, oh, maybe I can do it by the X dates. Maybe I should do that because that would just make this calculation a lot easier. So if we do, the X dividend was March 6th, so that would have been the day that the stock dropped. So if we do that date for our open versus the 5th, then I think it will be better. So let me just, now the difference will be Misty because it hasn't paid out its dividend yet. So I've left all of Misty's formulas based on inception on that one. That's why when you'll see it, you see some little coloring on those because the formulas are different. Nope. Hold on, I dragged a formula and yeah, I just totally messed up the other one. This is why I don't like to change stuff while I'm in the middle of it. I know it's time consuming. And this was new, so alright. I have changed them all now to the ex-dividend date. And then I've also added in the percentage change to be able to compare them. I know I do lots of data. It's just that, I know I want to see it lots of different ways, and other people may also. So, I don't know. I got to try to zoom it out just a little bit to get it all on one screen. Let's see if I can make this one. Okay. If you're still there, thank you. I appreciate it. And don't be mad at me if you're still there. We're waiting on me. Don't be mad. Okay, so now we can see we have the dollar amount differences here, and then we have the percentage differences here, and then so what I did is I did a formula to put the winner here. This is just how I did the other one. It was so much simpler. I could, though, I guess, go back and do the color codes. Like I do on the daily. I have it, well, if this was the winner, then it codes this one a color, and vice versa like this. I have it done the color codes like that so you can see them when we're looking at them like this. If you want them like that, just let me know. I can definitely do that, but right here, now I have who was better. So, and then that's all the data that I have on this tab, and I plan to go over. The bad thing is now I have, 19 ETFs to go over. So, the question is, what would y'all like me to even read off on? Like when we're talking ulti, we're talking highlights, right? Here, we're talking about, 18, 19 different ETFs. So, I don't know. Let's go down through the tickers, and let's look at our estimated earnings per share, I guess, or our distribution. If y'all don't want that to say EPS either, let me know. It was just a small thing that I could put in there to make the column smaller and not have such a big column. But right now we're looking at AIYY at 67 cents. AMDY with 66 cents. And remember, we're 70% of the way through, and the outstanding shares and the premium will change. So just keep all that in mind. Which then reminds me, I was going to put in an estimated yield of these. I know y'all were hating me right now. Every time I think I have everything done that I wanted to do, it's like, because my mind's like I got ADD or something, I can't concentrate on one thing, and then it starts going a whole another direction, which any of you that have been watching my videos, yeah, I'll just do this later, but y'all know how I go. So let me just make this red, so I can do this later. I know y'all wish I would have done that with the other part, but anyway, okay. So I was at AMSI, 44 cents, Apley, 88 cents, Coney, $1.87, Dizzo, 32 cents, Phoebe, 48 cents, GUI, 31 cents, JPMO, 17 cents, Murney, 87 cents. It's interesting. MSFO, 30 cents. Misty, now keep in mind, this is since Misty's inception. So I think it was out 2 weeks beforehand. And also keep this in mind, as soon as people start looking at this price, or this dividend payout or estimate or whatever, more people start buying in. Or once they actually declare on declaration date, and they declare what that distribution is going to be, a lot of people, for those people that buy in on the declaration date, so they can get paid that money back, days later, that number is going to go way up. So once that does, it's going to make that go down. So just to give an example, or just to show you here, if they didn't earn any more, which we're only 70 way through, where'd it go? Here. If we change this to say, actually, you know what? Undo. It'll make it a lot easier if I just do this and do times 2. Now you see how that, if just doubling that, right? Because it doesn't have that much right now. Made, obviously it would be, since I completely doubled it, it'd be completely half. But now that I say that, but you see, it can be a big difference. So that's why it's like one of those things when you're, a week in to 4 weeks or whatever, and you're like, well, how much are we getting paid? Things can change like that, right? In an instant, it can change. One day is all it takes. So just please keep that in mind. But anyway, moving on. So Nestle, 34 cents. NVIDIA, 47 cents. OARC, 42 cents. Wow. That's interesting. Okay. PayPay, 52 cents. SQY, 83 cents. Tesla, 56 cents. And Zomo, 30 cents. Also keep in mind that we don't know, are they reducing the payout? Well, there's so many things, right? Are they reducing the payout based on maybe they paid out too much historically because people bought in on the ex-dividend date, and they didn't plan to pay out that much? Do they only pay 90% or 95% even? I mean, there's lots of things to consider here. But anyway, just looking here, you can sort of look at these IVs, and some of these are pretty comparable. That Nvidia is not, though. But everything before that, Nvidia and Netflix, those IV estimate and the actual going through the estimates, those don't match up, even, not even close to each other. And JPMO, it's only half of that one. Of course, we don't, this is just the current IV and not the previous IV, but a lot of these, if you look at them, a lot of these, they're pretty close to each other. Aptly though, I can understand this one because it just now started going haywire with the whole getting sued and everything else, antitrust stuff. So I could see why, this would be low based on this because it's 30 days, right? And then that. But I don't know. It's interesting. So anyway, so we went over all of those. And then here, I'm not going to go over. I'm not going to read over these. I'm sure you thank me for that. But I will at least scroll down. So if you want to pause the video and look, you can look at them. And then I'm going to move on to the overall prices. So AIYY, they have dropped $1.48 since ex-dividend date. So we started on ex-dividend date, right? So we don't have to worry about adding in the div. And but since then, we have dropped another $1.48. Comparing that to the underlying AI, AIYY has dropped 9%. AI has dropped 15%. So as you see, Yieldmax ETF has done better in this instance. And then we have the rankings, but I said those rankings. Oh, these rankings, yeah, we won't worry about that right this second. If we look at AMDY, it has dropped $2.85, which is 12%, and AMD has dropped 15%, therefore making Yieldmax the winner, or AMDY, Yieldmax ETF the winner. AMZ, it actually has gone up 64 cents, so it's up 3%, and Amazon is up 2%. So it's up just 1% more than Amazon. For Apple, or Apply, it's come up 15 cents, but Apple, they're both 1%. But it looks like Yieldmax has still won, because these are rounded numbers. Because, Apply came up 15, while Apple, which is 170 something, has only come up $1.22 as of the current, right? So Coney has come up $2.79, and which is 11%, and Coin has also come up 11%, but Coin's just a little bit better here. So the underlying one there. And Dizzo, it has gone up 46 cents, 2%. Disney has gone up also 2%, but is a little better. So the underlying one there. It doesn't seem bad when you look at the rounded numbers because, Coney, just looking at these, Coney, Disney, Meta, all three of them, they won, the underlying won. They did better, meaning, but if we're looking at whole number percentages here, they're the same percentage, 11, 2, and 2, for both the, looking at the ETF and the underlying. Sorry, can't think. So those are like, borderline. If we look at gooey, gooey was up $1.32, which was 8%, but alphabet was up 13%. So that one definitely was, way more. And then if we look at JPMO, it went up 25 cents, which was 1%, but JPM went up 4%. So that was up 3 cents more, 3% more. Murney went up $1.22, which is 6%, and Moderna has gone up 9%, so 3% difference there. So underlying one. And then MSFO has gone up $1.31, 6%, and Microsoft has also gone up 6%, but I guess it was a little bit more than the Yieldmax ETF. And then we go to Misty. Misty, well, again, this is from since inception, but Misty has almost doubled and is up 1772, which is 87%. And MicroStrategy has more than doubled, which has gone up 123%. And if you look here, they're both ranked number one overall. So number one from the Yieldmax ETFs and number one of the underlying. If we go to, if we look at this percentage-wise, let's go back to that. We're looking at 36% better. That's huge, really, really huge. But if we go to Netflix closed up 97 cents up, which is 5%, and Netflix is up 4%. So the Yieldmax ETF did better there. And then if we look at NVIDIA is up $1.46, 5%. NVIDIA is up 7%. OARC is up 7 cents, which is 1%, but ARC is actually down 1%. So Yieldmax won there. And then PayPay is up $1.42, 8%, but PayPal is up 10%. So underlying was better. SQY is up $2.14, which is 10%, but Block is only up 7%. So that's 3% more for the Yieldmax ETF. Tesla is down 62 cents, which is 4%, and Tesla is down 5%. So Tesla won. And then Zomo is up 90 cents, and which is 5%, but Exxon is up 6%. So it's Exxon won there. So if we look at these, and since I just built this, I don't have a formula. We have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 of the 19 ETFs, Yieldmax did better. That means 11 of the underlying did better. So that's, I guess, that's not bad, right? Because we always, sorry about that, my iPad slid. I'm going to make some notes over here. So I don't forget something I was just thinking about to add to this, but and something else. Yeah, that's not bad. It's not quite 50-50, but and I also don't know whether we were in a, overall down market since then. I guess I should put compare to the S&P, I guess. Of course, this would be for the whole time period and not daily or anything, which then reminds me, remember I said during the week, during the daily, it seems that, sometimes if the market's down, then the Yieldmax does better versus the underlying, but I actually did a whole workbook and built the whole thing from the beginning of the year to today with the Yieldmax and the underline and the S&P and everything else. So I have that. I just need to actually do the video on it now to show y'all the results on it. So I spent too much time doing that. But I wanted to know. But anyway, I guess one thing I didn't do is look at the rankings, right? So if we're looking at the Yieldmax, if we're looking at all the Yieldmax ETFs, right? Which ones are doing the best, or which ones have done the best? Which we've already said Misty is number one, right? So number two, and you know what? Let's see. Let me see about putting a filter on this, and this will make this a lot easier. It's just sometimes things don't work in sheets the way it would work in Excel. So I'm going to try it. I really hope I don't mess up my spreadsheet by doing this. So we are going to filter A to Z. All right, so you can see here, Misty, it's done the best overall as far as the stock price goes. And then since obviously the ex-dividend date, Coney is number 2, SQI is 3, then NVIDIA, PayPay, GUI, Microsoft, Murni, Netflix, and Zomo is number 10. Then we have AMZ, Dizzo, Phoebe, JPMO, Apple, OARC, Tesla, AIYY, and then AMDY. Wow, that's AMDY. All right, so now if we compare that with the other side, I'm just going to leave it sorted like this. So MicroStrategy was still number 1, but as you can see, Coney ended up being number 3. Block, it ended up being number 12, even though SQI was number 3 on the Yieldmax side. NVIDIA, it was number 2, but number 4 on the Yieldmax side. So let's just go down and let's see who did the worst. All right, so AMD, it was still like, well, AI and AMD were sort of tied almost at 15%, which now I realize I have my rankings based on, I must have the ranking based on the dollar amount versus the dollar amount versus the percentage. So I need to fix that now that I see that, because we're not comparing apples to apples. So we should be looking at, so that means these are going to change. Sorry, but I'm glad we went over these. Otherwise, I probably would not have noticed, or I might not have noticed. Okay. Now, that makes more sense. So let's go back up to the top. Sorry about that. I had it based on the dollar amount difference versus the percentage amount difference. And that's huge when we're talking about, well, that means the other one's going to be, but the other ones, they're a lot of the, a lot of them are about the same price, but let me just go ahead and change it, because it could change some of these. Yeah, I messed that up. So let's not just do copy and paste. And that would make sense that because I didn't have yield there before, or I didn't have a percentage there before. Well, I guess it did make a difference, especially with some of those that are way, way off. Yeah, I guess that made more sense, huh? Yep. So let's redo this. I am so sorry. Let me just resort that. There we go. So let's redo that. So now that we have these based on percentages, obviously Misty's still number one on both sides. Coney, I know, I'm wondering, wasn't it the same order? Oh, the different one would be NVIDIA and then swap to PayPal and GUI. So we had Misty, number one, Coney, SQY, GUI, and PayPay. And then number 6, we have Murney, MSFO, Nefli, Zomo, and now NVIDIA is actually moved down to number 10, which makes sense. And then we go to AMZ, Dizzo, FBY, JPMO, Aptly, number 15, then OARC, Tesla, AIYY, AMDY. So only a few of those changed, but a lot of them changed on the other side. So we have Misty, number 2, for the underlyings that did was Alphabet. I always want to say Google, but it's Alphabet. Number 3 was Coinbase. Number 4 was PayPal. And then right behind that was Murney, which is sort of lines up to the other side. Sort of outlier there was Block. It's number 7 versus number 3 on the other side for the Yieldmax, sorry. If we go down, well, and if we look though, most of these, if we look at least through here, if we're looking at the color codes, those color codes pretty much match. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. So if we're looking at 10 and under, it's all the same, ETFs and underlying 10 for rankings 10 and under. So then if we look here, then this is the other half of the rankings, 11 through 19. And you can see on the right, those are also 11 through 19. They just may be in a slightly different order. So even though AMZ is 11 for ETF, it's 11 is JPMO on the underlying. And then the worst for Yieldmax, is AMDY with negative 12%. Well, they're close. So we have AIYY's negative 9%, Yieldmax, and AMDY's negative 12%. They're both 15% on AI, and AMD's 15% on the underlying. Just apparently AI is just a little bit worse than AMD. But those are the bottom ones there. The rest of those, 15, 16, and 17, those all match. 12, Disney, they match. Phoebe and Meta. So it looked like really the only difference when we're talking about the 11 through 19 is going to be Amazon and JPMO. Those are basically swapped. But anyway, y'all might not care about that. The ranking between them and more just about which was better. Was it the Yieldmax or was it the underlying? If y'all want me to delete the rankings on these two, since we have the percentage and we have the winner between them, I can do that. Y'all just let me know. Anyway, I know this was a long video. We did lots of changes and we had lots of stuff to go over there. But let me know what you think about this, the new way that I am calculating here. And if you still want to see this as far as, what their daily trades were, every day summed up and all those totals with all the weeks, remind me. Let me know if you want to see that, and I'll do a follow-up video to add those on. Otherwise, I'm just going to end that right here for this week's weekly roundup. I appreciate you if you stuck around this long, but just trying to make things more accurate. The more information I have, try to update the workbooks and the information that we receive. But anyway, I'll see y'all next week. Have a good week, y'all. Bye.